Mm, I'm back after an asshole was just knocking on the door considerably. Mm, I had to tell him off. Anyway, so yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, the school. He goes to the same the same elementary school as Bakugo, and you know, say they've known each other for a year. No, actually, they just met. Instead, because they're four. And you know how on like the first day they have you introduce your quirk. Ermac basically says like give them like the weaker version of it, so people don't expect like him to just lift like like the way he words it is like pretend that it's to a weaker degree, so people won't like treat it as if it's like strong as hell. Basically, he's like talking and like Sub Zero and Smoker agreeing with him that pretend that your quirk is weaker to deceive them, basically, into thinking that it's not as good as it is. Because I'm pretty much at this point he can lift up people and just like move them around, but it will drain stamina considerably, as I said before. He can pick up like the kids and stuff and move them around. It wouldn't drain much, but if he was to lift a grown person, it would take a considerable amount of energy. So when he does it, he just lifts up all the pencils and stuff in the room and brings them towards him, and then sorts them out and says, "My quirk is telepathy," with with a greenish aura, and they and everyone like thinks that's pretty fucking cool. Like, what would you think as a kid that this guy walked in, grabbed floated all your pencils to him, then back to you? Oh my fucking gosh, you keep on yawning. But yeah, I'm gonna say that happens, and he like his like through the roof, like the whole school knows who he is, like the whole elementary school, and they think like, oh, like his quirk may not be that strong, but it's still pretty cool to look at. You can like I'm gonna say like a cup like then like I'm gonna say a month or two later, Bakugo is his quirk, and this is when like shit starts turning south. Well, not turning south, but it's more like taking a turn for a bad turn, because you know how Bakugo gets when he gets his quirk, arrogant, like think he's the shit pretty much, and like Ermac, Ermac, Sub Zero, and Smoke see this, and they're like, I'm kind of glad we told him to be weaker, because now he has like a sparring partner to an extent. And mind you, Deku couldn't hear this because there's parts where like they're talking to each other, and there's parts where they want Deku to hear. But Deku's now like running around playing with the other kids and like picking them up and stuff. So he's I'm gonna say this now before I get back into like the Sub Zero part of it. He's noticed like because of like actions he's done in the past couple months, like saving kids from injuries. He's noticed a guardian angel kind of the of this of his class, because he's actually saved people from like falling and hurting themselves. So he's kind of seen like the class angel almost, which is kind of freaking ridiculous, but gotta roll with it. Today's been a yawning day. I don't know why. But back to like the three businessmen, pretty much. They basically are noting everything that's going on and see that Bakugo's getting like more and more arrogant when it comes to things. So they're taking mental notes and remembering what his power is. Like they take notes of everything. Like you think about it, heavily skilled fighters and one person who's heavily skilled in magic, that's been in Mortal Kombat for a long time, and like lost their lives in fights. So they know how to remember someone's quirk and all that. Think about it. Because you think about it, Sub-Zero remembered Hanzo Asasi's, aka Scorpion's, abilities since they've been beefing so long, and remembered everyone else's abilities and things they can do, including and not limited to, let's see, Raiden Frost, his own brother, Shao Kahn, Katana, and all of them. So he knows like what everyone can do.
I just can't wait until the 2 weeks are over. So
I knew that was coming. Anyway, but yeah, they take mental notes of everything, and they also tell Deku that he should start like noting things. Like, it doesn't have to be like very detailed, just enough to you remember like, okay, this is his quirk, and they're basically estimating how far his quirk can go. Because they're highly intelligent, so they can just like estimate and say like, okay, it'll get stronger as you age, so this is probably its limit now compared to how it'll be when he's older. Oh, my bad, I didn't see that was all the way out there. But yeah, basically that's what they do. And as like time went on, I'm sorry if you hear the noise in the background. That's just my like sisters talking, because remember, I am in the kitchen. This is a huge house. Not even not a huge house. It's a small house full of like a lot of people. But yeah, I'm gonna say a couple months pass basically, and he turns 5. And to celebrate it, Sub Zero and Smoke basically explain to him like, we want to teach you how to be a Lin Kuei basically, and do the training like one. And mind you, I said Smoke. Freaking what's the name? Who the fuck is it? I'm trying to think of his name. Can't believe I said Smoke. Ermac is taught basically Deku how to like envision things, like, and or project things. Like, think of how the hollow suit is in fucking Titanfall, how it for and Mirage from freaking Apex. You know how they can like project themselves doing stuff? That's basically what he's doing. And he can also like ascend a soul out into an inanimate object. Like say like actually that's what I'm gonna do. Like Ermac has Deku build like this like thing. I mean not a thing. Like he either has Deku put Ermac into like a bear or something, or he put like them into like small things that they can actually move around in, so they can actually talk to him. And his mother has seen him do this, so she knows like that's no longer him having imaginary friends. He's actually no. I'm gonna say at 4 he told her, and when she didn't believe him, like he showed her when he sent like a small thing out, and it looked kind of like a skull, like it was greenish with a lightest hint of white, into like a small robot, and the robot started talking, and basically it was Ermac, and then he sent 2 more out, being Sub Zero and Smoke, and they explained that they have been like they explained like we've been looking over him for a while, where and they explained their whole stories, and she was like, oh okay, even though she didn't like it because like she couldn't do anything about it, but at the same time she realized that if it wasn't for like Ermac, Smoke, and Sub Zero, Deku could have seriously hurt himself or killed himself through exhaustion because of using the magic. So just kind of thankful for them, and like they even said like he's like he can be a damn good hero, and like they're basically there to like they even like they had Deku leave the room, and they said basically we're not here to take your son or anything like that. We're just here like to teach him, because we're, as you can see, we've died in combat. Like, we all lost our lives in combat, and we can't really do anything. Like, we're just wandering souls pretty much who found your son, who's like the perfect vessel for us. And he allowed us basically to enter since birth, and we've taught him what we could up until this point, and hopefully we can teach him more, as if he's willing. He can just like ignore our teachings and do his own thing, but he wants to learn more. So like, and like he goes through the whole thing basically with her, and she's okay with it as long as like Deku doesn't get seriously hurt or die. And I agree. And there was also another part of the agreement. They had to swear that Deku would not use his power become a villain because she kind of took it as like these three died in combat. Well, especially Ermac, because Ermac was like the main a villain basically because he explained like how he works and how Deku's powers are like his. Like it's like he doesn't have like as many people as he did inside of him because Ermac basically explained like I'm a soul that was made in a tube that was thrown into a body, then like collected countless other souls. And that kind of was freaking her out, but she was like, I mean, it's weird, but she kind of like, okay, like I can see that basically because they explain their powers. He used ice, he used to throw smoke, and you were basically a sorcerer. So yeah, I mean, it's not really surprising no more. But yeah, I must say, she gets like bears and stuff for them to use, so they can have like the training and stuff. So I'm gonna say from 5, he trains with Smoke and Sub Zero in martial arts, and trains with Ermac in magic. And this happens for a while. He progressively gets better, like to the point where he can, like, I'm gonna say this from I'm gonna just go through the years until he's 10. From 5 to 6, he learns how he can pick up his mom and move her around for more than 10 minutes. And he can crush at least. He can, like, if he wants, he can compact a small, like, he can, like, compress a motorcycle. Because motorcycles weigh a lot less than cars. But he can, like, if I had to say it, he can only crush 2 motorcycles per day if he tried. 7, like, it multiplied to, like, because he's constantly training except for, like, one day off. Like, they got into, like, the routine of, like, training and doing certain things. And, repetition is a good thing. And he kept getting stronger to the point where it's, like, 7, he could crush a car or two. And then it kept going up. Like, 8, he could crush a couple cars at once. 9, it became more until 10, where he could, like, do the same thing, and he's damn good at it. And I'm gonna say one day, like, he's completed pretty much all the training, but they realize that there's still a lot more he needs to learn. So, if it was a formal ceremony, they would have inducted him into the Lin Kuei, but they made him an honorary Lin Kuei because they're like, he pretty much is, like, even though he wasn't born into the family, he pretty much is a Lin Kuei. And they continue with that. So, like, they have Deku make the like the patch pretty much, and put it on his person. And basically, like, when people ask, like, what it is, because they think it's Yakuza or something like that, he says, no, 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 it's like a clan thing, pretty much. It's not Yakuza. It's like, the way he explains it is like, he basically says, like, it's like a old family thing my family used to be in. Well, not really his family, but like, think of the samurai era where they had, like, things like ornaments and stuff to say where they're from. It's kind of like that thing. I mean, it's kind of like that. And that continues on. Like, the years pass, he gets stronger and better. And I'm going to say at the age of, the time he goes in the UA. Mind you, at this point, this dude can, like, fly. Like, you just seen ermac, he can fly, he can do all sorts of things. The only thing ermac really couldn't do was teleport, I think. Well, I think he can if I'm not mistaken. Because I haven't played 11, I've played 10. And I don't think I'm gonna play 11 because I just don't see the appeal in Mortal Kombat no more. Like, 10 was cool. 11 is just like, I just can't do it. But, yeah, I'm gonna say around this time now. Fucking, what was I gonna say? Like, the things are getting passed out for schools. And basically, like, Deku just does, like, I'm gonna just say what he's done for the past few years in school. The basic stuff when it comes to him being a guardian. He basically saves the class, helps the class, and, it's like class rep and all that. He's basically like the leader of the class and help them, like, get better with their quirks and things. So, like, no one's really, like, so no one really surprised when he says, like, he's trying to get into UA. Except for Bakugo, because, Deku has never didn't check Bakugo yet and put him in the check. And Sub-Zero and Smoke and all them know it because it's like they didn't want Deku to fight Bakugo because there's no point. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Sub-Zero and Smoke and ermac would have slid him within 2 minutes and probably killed him. But they decided that A, Deku's not like them. B, this is a different world. You can't just kill someone and get away with it. And C, that's not really the best thing you do, because then he'll probably grab Bakugo's soul and put it inside of him. Because that's what ermac does. And Deku will probably follow in that foot. So when the teacher says two people are trying to get into UA, Bakugo flips out like usual, like, who's the asswipe trying to get into UA with me? And Deku basically says, like, I'm trying to get into UA. I know I can do it. Now it's just when and how. And Bakugo takes offense to it. He was like, no, I'm the only person going to UA. You can go to whatever shitty school you want. And Deku doesn't take offense to this. He just looks at him and says, I'm going to UA. You can't stop me from going to UA. And Bakugo basically, like, people, like, basically he hops up and walks towards Deku and says, oh yeah, watch me. And I'm gonna say he tries to throw a right hook at Deku. And basically Deku, all he does is basically stop him with the telekinesis and just leave him there. Like, just standing there. He says, I'm sorry. I don't know what you're doing with your hand there, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to end well. So, can you please settle down and go back and talk about this civilized before I flatten you like a pancake? And, mind you, he lets Bakugo go, and Bakugo takes offense to this. And instead of it being a regular, like, fist fight, Bakugo's using his quirk now. So, Bakugo goes in for Deku stands up. And he moves all the desks with his quirk. And he says, like, and he tells teacher, like, I'm not going to do anything to him. I'm just going to just sit here and slip. I mean, just going to sit here and dodge all of his attacks until he gets tired, pretty much. And that's when Deku gets really disrespectful. Because he puts his hands behind his back and just looks at Bakugo and says, come on, let's see what you got. And mind you, Smoke and Sub-Zero ermac think that's kind of cocky, but they realize this kid has had Lin Kuei training, and he's not trying to kill him. All he's trying to do is basically tire him out and, like, basically stop a fight before it happens. So I'm going to say because of that, Bakugo goes swinging in like an idiot because he doesn't know any martial arts. And all Deku does is basically slip and dodge him for like a solid 20 minutes and deflect some of his attacks until Bakugo, stops for a minute because he's tired and starts loading up a huge explosion. Now, this is the problem because Deku sees this and he doesn't freak out. He's just looking at it, and Bakugo's like, I got something for your bitch ass. And you know how the little thing like Goku did to Janem, like, how I say it? Like, you know how the little key ball look when Goku goes to blast it when against freaking, what the fuck was his name? Zamasu in the thing before he turned on his aura? That's pretty much how it was. And Deku, upon seeing this, he changed from I'ma just slip to okay, I'ma stop this. And as soon as before Bakugo fired it, Deku like kicked his arm up and chopped him in the neck and put Bakugo to sleep basically. And basically said like, yeah, and basically told the teacher like, I was not gonna do that, but at the same time, that could have taken out the like this whole entire room, and I could see the power in it. So, yeah, like I'm not letting that happen. And yes, and Bakugo's having went night night, sweet dreams, kid. And I must say that happens actually because because it makes sense. Bakugo gets floated to the infirmary, and class resumes. The teacher didn't tell anyone what happened because, nothing violent happened besides Bakugo just swinging wildly for 20 minutes, not hitting shit. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn when it comes to Deku. This dude couldn't. This dude couldn't hit a freaking. This dude couldn't shoot at water if he was a foot away. So yeah, class resumes, and the teacher basically says like, "Thanks, Deku," and basically says like, "There's no surprise you were getting UA. If it wasn't for the fact you went to this school, you probably would have had a recommendation." And upon hearing this, like Deku says, "I really don't want a recommendation because I want to prove myself before I do it." And yeah, that's how that goes. And mind you, like Deku walks home. He doesn't fly home because, like, mind you still can't use your quirk in public, and they know, and Deku knows that. As much as it sucks, like he like walks home, and I'm gonna say he takes the shortcut this time, and guess what he runs into? The fucking slime monster. And I'm gonna say no, this Deku will not get one for all because at this like as much as like it will be cool, I don't want it in his system. Because if he gets it, it's basically saying, oh, like he has the training already to hold like at least 20%. So basically, he's gonna be ultra fast, ultra strong, and have ermac's abilities. No, like he's broken to all hell. He already got Shira. He already got Lin Kuei training, which is pretty much him beating the fuck out of people with multiple martial arts, and it's built. Like he ain't been slacking on the weights. This dude is built. He's like you say like go to a gym. This dude is the gym. This dude got abs on top of abs. This dude biceps have biceps. Ugh. But yeah, I must say like he's walking through the tunnel, and yes, because this nigga does have senses. He senses something is wrong, and he continues walking and now is on guard. So when the slime villain comes to attack, Sludge Villain comes to attack him and says, "Hey kid, I need a new body, thanks." Deku grabs him with like Ermac's powers and because he sees that he's Sludge, crushes him into a small ball and says, "Thank you, but I like my body." And basically holds him there until he can find a suitable thing to put him in. And this is when All Might show around the corner like, "I am here," and Deku basically says, "Oh, it's All Might," and he says like, "I've already captured this villain. Like he tried to take my body. I'm not sure if he's with what his name is or any of that, but do you have like a suitable bottle or something I can put him in real quick, and then get your autograph?" And he says sure and hands him a Coke bottle. And upon that, I'm gonna say the rest is history. Like, All Might thinks he should be the successor of his quirk, yet doesn't say anything. I mean, no, he wouldn't think that because he handled the situation quickly, and he thinks like this kid already has like a pretty decent quirk, so he should be fine. Plus, he doesn't know Deku's attitude, like because like he's too calm, like he's he's dealt with it before. Mind you, I've never said that like even though he trained like them being like life-size teddy bears and stuff, who didn't? I never said they couldn't kill him. Like teddy bears could still like even them as freaking stuffed animals could still almost kill Deku. So Deku's been put through the ringer. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say that happens, and like the same thing happens again, and he gets an autograph and jumps away, and this is when like because Deku's 14 and he's like has like the mind of a fighter. Basically, all three of them pop in and say, "Hey, did you notice something about All Might, that hero?" He's and the three of them say like basically Sub Zero, ermac, and Smoke asked Deku that, and Deku says, "Yeah, he's injured. I don't know where, but he was in an awful lot of rush, and he seemed like he was losing stamina rapidly." And they say, "Good eye." Though we don't know either because he has like the big clothes on, but we can kind of guess it's in his respiratory system, aka the big ass shot in between like in that area. And they say like he's probably hiding it pretty well, but it's probably bugging him. Like we don't know what his quirk is, but we know his name is One for All, so we can take it with the name. I mean, we don't know what his quirk is, so like we can't basically take it like we don't know what it can do. Right now, we can just say it's like basically strength and speed enhancing because he just like and then when they say he just jumped into the sky, pretty much. And Deku continues walking home until he hears an explosion, because All Might ain't fucking perfect. And there's the sludge villain, holding on to Bakugo, as usual. Because, Bakugo can't handle one ass whooping. I mean, not even, he didn't get his ass kicked, he just was outfought and outplayed. And Deku hears this, and basically, yes, he still can fly, he decides to fly over. And he's hovering above all the crowd now, like to see what's going on. He sees the sludge villain, and also notices that the heroes are doing jack shit. They can't even get close to this man because of the fact that they're scared for Bakugo's life. Deku, however, isn't, because he literally does not give a fuck about Bakugo, and B, can control the magic so well that he separated Bakugo from the sludge villain and slam the sludge villain all across the way. Then put him into a bottle and said, "Here." And this time he put him in a bottle and screwed the top on so tight that they had to remove the bottle. They had to put him in a container to remove the bottle. And basically said, "Here." And, All My sees is he's like, this kid just handled that situation better than any pro would ever. And he says, "I need to find this kid and talk to him." And by that time, like when he hands it over to the adults, when they're about to lecture him about him not being a hero, he was like, "Yeah." He basically said, and started floating away slowly. He was like, "No, no," like it was like, "Hey, you can't do that, yada yada. You should wait till you're older." He basically's like, yeah, no, like I gotta go, so yeah," and just like floats off. And I would say he floats home because, All Might won't be able to find him because Deku just dips paparazzi and all that, and he doesn't want to deal with them. And he gets home and he collapses almost because, I never said he had infinite stamina. Slamming that sludge villain did take a lot of energy. he did it so the sludge villain couldn't move. He wasted a lot of stamina, plus he floated home. If he would have walked, he would have had a little bit of stamina. But think about it. He's compressed the sludge villain, put him into a compressed the sludge villain, and then slammed him around and freed one person at the same time. He's tired right now. And I know what I say. He can crush tons, but it doesn't mean like he can just do it infinitely. Like he still has limits. And he almost reached it. So now he's home and he's basically told his mom like I'm gonna rest because like I'm out of stamina pretty much. And that happens. And now it's time for the 10-month period because he doesn't give a fuck about Bakugo, and he's not gonna go out and try to find All Might. So basically, I'm gonna say they hear about this. I mean, Deku hears about this beach, like many things to move, like washers, dryers, and things. And Ermac think it's a good idea for them to, for Deku, because he can make like actual versions of them to help him and or for him to spar with. So the same beach like Dokaba Beach, I think it's called in the manga and anime. He goes there, but not for to move the trash around. He goes there to train for 10 months. Because now you got life size Sub-Zero, life size Smoke, and life size Ermac. Then you got the trash to move and crush and all that. And he gets his suit from that trash. From like the rubble. The rubble, the trash and things. 'Cause there's a whole bunch of metal there. So, yeah. For the next 10 months, he practices, fighting and combat with magic, and he's doing pretty well. Besides the fact that Smoke and Sub-Zero, like, would how are I saying this? Like, Deku could defend against them, like, one-on-one, like, for a while. It's just they will always get the upper hand because, mind you, they outclass him in experience, so they always can switch things up. Deku doesn't have the experience that they have when it comes to fighting. Nor can he ever have it because he won't have, like, the experience they had. They fought hundreds and hundreds of fights. Just the last ones took their lives. And Deku won't experience that because he isn't, one of them, a Mortal Kombat combatant. So, yeah, like, he can hold them off, but sooner or later, they'll get the upper hand. Now, it's like them sparring to see who gets the first hit. And I'm going to say he lasts a while. The only person he doesn't spar like that with was Ermac, because Ermac teaches him how to control his magic and get more precise with it. So that happens for 10 months, and I'm going to say, like, he can now fight Sub-Zero, and no, he could never do that. He's just good with them, so he's pretty much, like, still learning, because there's always something new to learn with them. Like, they're literally fighting different types of fighting styles and martial arts, because, while Deku sleeps, they can't. So they're just constantly, like, they learn about the internet, so they're surfing through fighting, different fighting styles, and everything, and learning it as he sleeps. So he's constantly learning, too, because through them, because they modify him to where they know Deku can control and do stuff with it. While Ermac thinks of new ways to control his magic and think of new, like, things he can do. So for 10 months, I must say this continues to happen with him learning, like, new different modified styles to complement Deku. And I'm gonna say it's the day before the entrance exam, because yes, Deku does study too. It's just like after the training, he'd go home and study. like ermac makes sure like because ermac and all of them learn too because they're still extension of deku and deku's them, so they learn as well and they say okay, are we ready for like the test tomorrow? And when deku says we, and he was like, yeah, ninja, like, you're a Lin Kuei. We're going to help you either way it go. Like, we'll help you cheat and all that. And he says, like, okay, but I don't think I need to cheat. And, like, basically, the three of them says, oh, trust me, you'll need help on this test because, like, they basically did their research on it and they said, like, it's one of the hardest tests, like, you can ever take in your life, pretty much. And it basically like that happens. So now it's the day of you know the entrance exam. I would just say Deku starts floating there. I mean, no, actually, he wants to conserve as much energy as possible because he never knows what could happen. So this time he takes like the train and stuff to the school and walks. And like upon there, he meets. I'm not saying he meets. He bumped like because he wasn't paying attention because he's like he's not telepathically talking to him, but it's like he's in his own mind talking to them three about different things, and he bumps into a certain young lady named Uraraka Oshako. And actually, yeah, that's what he bumps into. And he almost knocks her over, and he basically catches her with telekinesis, saying, "Sorry, I didn't see you there. I wasn't paying attention. I was off in like La La Land and being goofy, pretty much." And he puts her back on her feet and says, "That's my bad. Like, can I make it up to you somehow? Maybe like food after this?" And she said, like, "How are you gonna invite me out to food and you ain't even asked my name yet? And thank you for saving me, by the way. I mean, and thank you for helping me, by the way." And he was like, "Well, mine is Izuku Midoriya, but everyone around me like calls me Deku or Angel because of school related things." And she says Angel. He was like, "Yeah, my old school called me their guardian angel because I always used to save them from stuff like that. Though this time I caused it, so I guess I'm in between this time." And she chuckles at that. And like like smoking like because Ermac isn't really a ladies person, so you don't know how to talk to her. I mean, he does, but it's like he isn't like Smoke in Sub-Zero. They're like, "Oh, okay, that's actually pretty cool. I mean, that's pretty good how he's doing this. We don't like he may need our help when it comes to talking, though we're just gonna like, sit back and watch him." And it goes well. I'm gonna say they exchange contact information, and they head into the examination room, and they'll sit near each other because that's too convenient for story development. And you know, he sits next to Bakugo. He sits next to Bakugo. Hmm. Hmm. And President Mike and Bakugo doesn't like this because he couldn't land a hit on Deku, and Deku doesn't care really because Bakugo can't do anything to him. And when Bakugo was about to mouth off at him, he basically just like closed his mouth and made him look forward, and had him sit like that the entire time. So now Ida didn't have anything, so now he got Ida off his back, and Bakugo had to shut up the entire thing instead of talking in Deku's ear, trying to challenge him to a fight. And I'm gonna say he held this until like the examination part where they took the test. Then he let it go because he said, "I need to actually focus now. Plus, like, I don't want to drain stamina all like that." Because he has stamina reserves for like a lot of things, but he doesn't want to act. He doesn't want to use that. So, like, the entrance exam goes as planned. Besides the fact that Deku admits that the three of them were right because Deku did cheat and got 100 basically. And Nezu was impressed by this, but none of them knew that Deku had help with it. So yeah. So now comes the robot part. And I know what people thinking, oh, you're just going to speed through this. And no, I'm not. I'm actually going to take my time because I said I want to slow these stories down. Upon getting to, like, the entrance, like, not the entrance, but, like, the little waiting area, he meets Ochako again. This time, she's, like, nervous because just, like, she doesn't feel like her quirk is, like, strong enough for this, and Deku walks to her and basically say, like, oh, what's wrong? And she says, oh, I'm nothing, I'm just nervous. And he says, nervous about what? This exam with the robots? It can't be that hard. She basically explains, like, with her quirk, she don't know whether, like, she's gonna be good with it, and when she shows it, she basically taps him and then lifts him up. He's like, oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, he was like, basically, he started like, what the fuck is this? And she says, oh, that's my quirk, is gravity. But, and then she, like, belches and says, like, I throw up if it takes a while. And he says, oh, okay, that makes sense. And using his power, he basically, like, grabs it and just throws into the garbage. The throw up, I mean. And says, that's basically my power, the one I used to save you. It's telepathy. But everyone calls it, like, green movement for some weird reason. And she kind of snickers again. And, like, Sub-Zero and them are like, okay, that wasn't funny. She definitely feels some type of way about you. And Deku's like, I'll wait a little bit longer to see. Just because she laughed at one corny joke doesn't mean she'll laugh at the next. And they say, that is true. So I'm going to say the examination begins now. Mind you, Deku, like, wants to conserve energy because he doesn't know what can happen. So he floats, he doesn't fly. And he he basically, like, breaks the 0-pointers, like, into pieces instead of, like, crushing them. So he can conserve energy. Because him, like, taking things apart and making them fall apart isn't really, like, gonna take much energy as much as him, like, crushing and lifting things up. I would say he gets a good amount of points because of this, and, like, he's taking a non-violent approach. He's not getting close to them because he knows that he may be strong, but he's not strong enough to punch through iron yet. And he gets, like, a good amount of points. He saves a few people because, you don't get the guy named, like, the Green Angel for nothing. He has a whole bunch of names. The Green Angel, almost Green Lantern's son, like, green-haired Deku. Can't do it like Pretty Boy Deku. Like, he has a whole bunch of names, but until, like, the 0-pointer comes running out, like, he sees it before anyone else because he has, like, heightened senses to hell. So he hears it and feels it coming, and he would have, like, he basically, like, looks at it and says, this is kind of like a hazard for people, because if they get caught in it, it's pretty much over for them. And upon him saying that, he basically, like, notices Ochako sitting there under rubble, like, not moving. I mean, she's not dead. He, like, can see that she's not dead. She's just incapacitated. And he sees this and lifts up the rubble around her with his telekinesis, and he sees that he didn't have enough time to move her away. So what he does is he jumps up and basically crushes a 0-pointer into, like, a small ball. And I said jumps up. He basically flies up and does that. And due to that, he has, like, barely, like, very much depleted his energy, so he's like, he can barely even float at this point. So he almost passes out mid-air after doing that. And he's now plummeting to the ground at high speeds. Like, Sub-Zero, like, Smoke and Ermac try to wake him up, and they do successfully, but not until he was close to the ground, until all you heard, until Ochako saved him, like, in canon. And, like, and basically now he's, like, very much tired, but he's basically says, like, thank you for saving me, now the favor is, like, returned, pretty much. So I take it you won't want that. Like, he says, I take it you wouldn't want that dinner then. And she says, no, I still want that dinner. Just let's get, like, healed first. And he says, right. And he says, like, I'll carry both of us there. I have enough energy to do that at least. And he basically floats both of them to Infirmary Girl. And very much that's the end of the entrance exam. And I would say those two do go out. Like, after that, like, Deku and Ochako do go out. Like, they're not an item yet, but they do go out eating and stuff, because, you know, it was Deku's treat. And that happens. I'm gonna say some time passes, but in this time, Deku's still training. Like, the grind don't stop for him. Like, to him and Sub-Zero and them, they're like, until, like, there's nothing left to teach, the grind can't stop and grind won't stop. And Deku believes that there's no, like, you gotta trust in the process, and the grind can't stop. So, you know, even though he has fun in moments and has off days, the grind just doesn't stop for him. And that's until, like, the letter comes in. And he gets a letter from you basically saying, like, you're in class UA, and it shows, like, he's the top in robots, in combat points and rescue points, and Uraraka got behind him in rescue points because she saved him. So, yeah, that happens. And I'm gonna leave it off here because he's in 1A and all that. And I actually kind of like the story. I like how I paced it more slowly. I actually feel like it's more natural coming out. Like, I like this pacing, and I think I'm going to enjoy pacing it like this from now on. Because I remember, like, a couple of videos I, like, shoot through and not include many things. Therefore, leaving many, many loopholes. Like, I'm still leaving loopholes, I feel like, in this story. But I'm pretty sure I can explain them. Yeah, thank you for stopping by. Enjoy your drinks, because I had tea next to me the entire time. That half iced tea, half lemon Arizona tea. And food. And I'm going to catch you guys in my cove next time, hopefully. Have a good night, morning, or whatever the hell you got, or whatever country you have. Because I looked at my analytics. But, yeah, see you later. Have a good day or night. Here from the cove.